Anthony Hartwig here with a South Range softball player profile. We are joined by sophomore Anna A. Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So when we talk to most sophomores, we're talking with players that are have little experience, or maybe they haven't gotten in a lot, and this is going to be their first year. Not for you. Nuh-uh. You had a full season of experience, getting all the way to state last year. You were a big part of that team. So my biggest question for you is coming off of that freshman season where you had so much, to come off of. What was it like preparing for this season and not wanting that sophomore slump and trying to stay away from that?
Yes, I was just about to talk about that. Like my brother Joe, he always talked to me, "Oh, you're going to hit that slump. You're going to hit that sophomore slump." And it was one of my bigger fears. And so like in the off season, I tried to like prepare for it better, tried to get more like hits in. I started going to my hitting coach sooner than I had in the previous year. And I didn't want to let down my team considering I had done so well late in the season last year.
You did do so well, especially late in the season. So, did you see, especially pitchers in your conference this year, have a little bit more of a game plan against you? I mean, last year you're a freshman, you don't have a lot of things to look at, so there was no really way for pitchers to scout you. Do you think, from your perspective, you saw a little bit more of a game plan against you in the box?
I would definitely say so. Yes, like their pitches were they were able to place it better. Like just seeing the better pitchers than last year. Gabby Gratishar, she's an amazing pitcher. I'm pretty sure she was first team All NE8. I'm very excited to get back to her. It's like the good pitchers that like do like the scouting reports and that they see like, oh, like she can't hit outside well, but it's always a nice challenge for me to show them that I can hit what they think I can't.
Let's talk about the ending stretch of last year. You went through three straight tournament games with a home run, district championship, regional semis, regional championship, and all of those were against D1 pitchers. How much momentum did the end of last year kind of give you into this year?
It definitely helped me bring it on, like to know that I'm able to hit those pitchers and to know I'm capable of hitting it that far. I didn't actually know last year until I think DJ Oakley said something that it was my third straight game. I was like, are you kidding? Like, I didn't even notice.
When you think of this Raider program and the way it's set up right now, where you have a handful of players that are experienced from last year, but then also plenty of new players that have come into a varsity role this year. From your perspective, what's it been like to have a good mix of young talent that is cutting their teeth, so as to say, this year, with players like you that went through it all last year and have the experience in the world?
It's very nice to see that our team is so young. So, like, our team this year is mostly made up of sophomores, and then next year we'll just be losing Gretchen Bartels, and that's basically our whole team. So, it's really nice that, like, me and Kira Brogan and some of the swings from last year, like, we have that experience playing in varsity, so we don't have, like, the jitters for our first time. So, we're able to, like, step up and help the younger players, like, accept their role as a starting position or maybe just a DP.
And when the season was starting to get started and you guys were preparing for it, what kind of advice did you give to the players that were making their first varsity run? You went through it last year, so what kind of advice did you give them?
Just to always stay focused, never really like get super up or super down. Like I would always reference Julie Stakowitz. She was very, very even keeled. Like you never saw any emotion off her on the mound. Just to be confident and like even if you make a mistake, it happens to everybody.
When you think of the way this season went, and here you are back in regionals, another district championship. It's the fifth straight for this program, second straight for you. How hungry do you think this team is after getting to the state tournament last year and falling short?
It was definitely really hard for us to fall short last year, especially with such the like a good team that we had last year. And I fully believe that this team is able to get that far. Like if you look at our stats, we have pretty good stats. Like I think seven, 6 or 7 of us have home runs. So we definitely all have that ability to hit. We all want to hit. Like it's always a friendly competition between all of us to see like, oh, who's gonna get like up in the batting order. Kira Brogan doesn't know this, but me and her had a little competition in my mind of who can hit the most home runs like early in the season.
You guys were trading, the lead for a little bit there. Now you kind of ran away with it with 2 home runs last night against Matthews, but there was a time when you two were flip flopping between the home run lead.
Yeah. It was like Kira would hit one, I'd be in the dugout. I'm
Well,
like, I
okay, I
need to
gotta
get
agree.
another one. I can't let her take it.
What's it like being a left-handed power hitter? You don't see that a lot in high school. You see a lot of lefties. They want to be slappers. They want to be speedsters that can put the ball in play. And then you come up left-handed and you're looking to mash. How much of an advantage do you think that gives you, considering that we don't see it a lot, especially in the area at this level?
I think it definitely helps. Like having me and Kira Brogan in the one spot being a lefty, me in the three spot being a lefty. You definitely don't see that very much. And even against Matthews, the other game, I got up and their coach is like, "Oh, another lefty." Like, what does that mean? Sometimes they like will set up in a slap defense, which I always laugh at because it's just no.
Have you ever been asked to slap ever?
I don't think so. I've like brought it up as a joke and like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, you could do it." But at the same time, like I want to hit those home runs. I want those game winning shots.
I would be really impressed if you slapped a home run. Do the
That would
footwork and then still put it
yes,
over the fence. That would be the cream on the cake.
that would be amazing.
Let's talk about this program in general. You look at South Range; they have been so successful over the last decade plus. From your perspective, being in it now for 2 years, what are some things that are unique to this program that you think help it maintain the success that it has for so long?
I definitely say our team chemistry. Coach Rose does a wonderful job of having us all like talk to each other. I just got back actually from his house. We had another team dinner, which I love his wife. She cooks for us. Her food's amazing. But it's just a nice environment for us all to like relax, just talk to each other, know each other as players, and like outside just as people. So it's nice to see like everyone's softer side.
This tournament run, it's a little bit different because you get a little bit of a break between games. You play district back on Thursday. So here you are, you have a good amount of days, 6-day break between then and then. You had the tune up last night against Matthews, but what's it like having a little bit of practice time, being able to rest a little bit, take care of any little injuries that you might have? What's that been like for you getting ready for tomorrow?
I can see like different perspectives on it. Like we're happy we can have a little break, but at the same time, we don't want to lose the momentum that we already have. So we have to like balance it. That's why Coach Strohs picks up a game for us, just so we get back in like the swing of things. So like when we go into our like regional game, we're not all like tired and we aren't ready for the game. So I do like that about it, but at the same time, I kind of wish the gap was a little bit shorter so that we didn't have as much time to like maybe lose our fundamentals or like lose our hitting momentum.
Well, you didn't lose anything against Matthews the other night. So, what was it like getting back into the field and trying to, like you say, get right back into rhythm and get right back to fundamentals? What was that like for you guys?
It was definitely really nice to be able to have a pickup game. Like you're always nervous on injuries and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's to help us figure out our fundamentals and stuff. And it really works for me to like just see the ball. Those games, like they do matter against our record, but at the same time, you don't want to take them too seriously. You just want to be able to figure out your swing.
You spend a lot of time at the softball field, whether it's hitting or working on your craft. So I'm wondering, what kind of things do you do outside of the game of softball to stay away from that burnout or using it too much, or when you just need a mental break? What are some things that you do outside of the sport?
Outside of softball, I do play volleyball, so that's always fun for me. I always see the reminds. Other than that, pretty much my life in softball season is dedicated to softball.
Mhm.
I take hitting lessons, which I really love. I love my hitting coach, George. He's one of my favorites. But I always hang out with friends like Gretchen and Heidi, obviously girls on the team, but Also, other people like Gwen Lowry, she plays basketball. Unfortunately, we're no longer together in that sport.
Did she ever try to recruit you back to the basketball team?
She did. She did the other day, actually. She said, Anna, if I play volleyball, will you play basketball? And I gave it some thought. I was like, I
She's
mean,
trying to make
seems
a
like
deal.
yes. I was like, going softball, maybe? Like, yes.
So that goes into my next question. If there was any sport that you haven't tried that you want to kind of throw your hat into the ring and you could try if it were available, what are some sports that you look at and you watch maybe on TV or maybe your classmates play and think, I might be able to be pretty good at that?
I have always wanted to try wrestling and lacrosse. Just the only thing with lacrosse is that there's a lot of running, and the thing for wrestling is like they lose a lot of weight, and I don't think like I can stop eating for that amount of time.
The one thing I've noticed about both those sports, they're both really physical. So I think Anna A wants to get out and hit some people, right? You want to get out and put your body into people. Anna A
I
wants to get she doesn't like the non-contact version of softball. She wants to get into maybe that'll be a good rebounding tool if you play basketball, right?
yes, if I go back.
When you think of things that you like inside the classroom, you're a student athlete, you're such a good student as well. What are some of your favorite subjects to learn about, and who are some of your favorite teachers in the South Range school system?
I would say my favorite subject is math. I wouldn't say specifically geometry. I'm I've done pretty well in geometry this year, but it definitely hasn't been my best math class. But I think my favorite teacher would be Mr. Landry, which I feel like is a very unpopular opinion, but he's such a nice person and he always asks me how we're doing in softball and he does a really good job balancing teaching the German kids and the French kids, which I don't know how he does that.
Do you have him for French or German?
I take German.
Okay. Is this your second year of German?
Yes.
How good are you at learning the language? Do you think like if you got dropped in Munich, you could be able to get around the language, or do you still think you need some more time to study it and to be able to speak it? At least not fluently, but at least enough to get around.
I would need Google Translate all the way. I think it just depends on who you are. Will Gehring is very, very good at German. He always finishes first on the test, always gets 100, and then I'm over here finishing last, getting my 80% barely.
And don't worry. I mean, I've been told a lot that German's one of the hardest languages to learn. So, don't feel too bad about that. You're still doing hard work. When you think about going into next year, I know you don't want to think about, you have this season to think about right now, but next year you're going to be an upperclassman. You're going to be asked to be a leader a little bit more. Who are some people that you think you lean on, whether it be in the softball world, whether it be in life? Who are some people that show you how to be a good leader that when it's asked of you, you're able to lean on the experience of having them in your life?
I would definitely say my grandpa. He's always been there for me. I think I can count on one hand the amount of times he hasn't gone to a game like since 8U that I've been playing. He's always there for me. He brings me Gatorade before all of my games. And I would also say Julie Stakowitz. Like she's my cousin. Of course, I look up to her, but at the same time, she was such a good player and such a good teammate. And like even this year when I was asked to step up as a leader, I really like looked to her for help with it.
We have to know the dugout snack of choice for Anna A. We can't let this interview go without, like, if you had one snack for the rest of your career, that's all you could have, what would it be?
I would definitely say grapes, but they have to be the grapes that Susie, like Jaylee's mom, brings from the store at her work. So like near her work, that Walmart, specifically those grapes.
Is that a superstition, or do they really like taste different? Like those grapes are the best.
No, they just hit. They're so crunchy every single time. They hit so hard.
Green grapes or the purple grapes?
The green ones all the way.
Okay, all the way, all the way. So if Anna A had one dugout treat for the rest of her career, it would be Mrs. Willet's grapes. Got to be
Yeah.
them. Does that
Yes.
mean she has to follow you to college? and bring you those grapes every day?
I mean, you said it, on me.
When you think about college, I know that's a long way down, but are there any like career paths or job interests that you think might be starting to work their way into your mind when you think about your future?
I've honestly not really been too sure on what I want to be when I grow up. Like, I watch shows, and obviously, like, criminal shows or medical shows pique my interest, but, like, at the same time, I do not have the patience to go to medical school. I would fail out. I can't even do this school, staying awake. But when I was little, I used to want to be a chef or a baker. So, like, that's always in the back of my mind. And my mom's a teacher, obviously, but I don't think kids are for me.
If you don't have if you don't have the patience for school, especially if they're young kids, I don't know if you have the patience for that either.
No.
Gotta have a lot of patience to deal with the youngins, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anna, one of the things we want to do before we let you go, we do this with every player profile. We give the athlete the chance to take the spotlight off themselves for a little bit and shine on their support system, the people in their life that mean so much to them, that always have their back. So I want to give you as much time as you want to give as many thank yous as you need and as many shout outs as you'd like.
My first shout out I would like to give to my grandpa Whitey, who I said was always there for me. I don't think he's missed over 5 games. My grandma, obviously, she's always there for me. She's never afraid to tell me if I had a bad game, which I do sincerely appreciate. Obviously, my parents, even though they weren't there last year for a couple of my home runs, but it was good luck. My boyfriend Will Gehring, he's the catcher for the baseball team. He's always been there for me, and even if I had a bad day of practice, he tells me that it's just a bad like practice. Everyone has them. You're a great player. Um, my other set of grandparents, they're so sweet. Even though they can't make it most of the time, I always get a good luck text from them, which really means a lot to me. And this one might sound interesting, but my brother Joe. He is never afraid to tell me if I have had a bad game. And I overheard him one time talking about how I was actually a good player, and I have never had a compliment like that. I was so sincerely happy.
It's always nice to hear, that you're good from the player that's might be one of your biggest critics. Always trying to pick apart your game and tell you what you can improve on. When you
Yeah,
get to hear that, hey, I still got it. I'm still a good player. That's gotta feel good.
it does.
All right, Anna, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate your time and we wish you the best of luck tomorrow and hopefully Friday and hopefully even further than that. We hope that South Range is able to
Yes.
get the big trophy at the end. And, we'll be right along on that journey with you. And we can't wait to see you again real soon.
Thank you so much.